Welcome to the John 3:30 podcast. He must increase, I must decrease, is a message John 3:30 invites us to live. Incorporating this into our everyday lives can be a challenge. What keeps your fire burning? We have many wonderful ways to stay close to our faith, whether it be the Mass, spiritual readings, prayer, adoration, or the Rosary. This is Catholic Faith Life, and here's our host, Jason Nunez.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the John 3:30 podcast. This is your host, Jason Nunez, and welcome to episode number 66. Have a very, very special guest today. I want to welcome Miss Amanda De Leon. Hello, Amanda. How are you?
I'm well, Jason. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for taking time out of your day.
Absolutely.
And doing this with us. Greatly appreciate it. Before we get to this week's episode, I want to thank everyone for staying with us after our 2-week break. Truth be told, I had kind of a back-to-back swing on retreats. Was blessed to be a part of a men's Acts team middle part of September. And my wife and I were a part of a marriage ministry at our parish called Love Strong to be a part of that team. And having back-to-back retreats, kind of took a little toll. So I needed an extra week to kind of recover and get back in the swing of things. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening, period. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Here we go with this week's episode. We will begin this episode the way we begin all of them, and that is in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Come, Holy Spirit, come. Come, Holy Spirit, come. Come, Holy Spirit, come. Oh, Jesus, meek and humble of heart, hear me. From the desire of being esteemed, deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being loved, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being extolled, deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being honored, deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being praised, deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being preferred to others, deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being consulted, deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being approved, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being humiliated, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being despised, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of suffering rebukes, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being calumniated, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being forgotten, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being ridiculed, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being wronged, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being suspected, deliver me, Jesus. That others may be loved more than I. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be esteemed more than I. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That, in the opinion of the world, others may increase, and I may decrease. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be chosen, and I set aside. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be praised, and I go unnoticed. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be preferred to me in everything. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may become holier than I, provided that I may become as holy as I should. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. And then in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Alrighty.
That was beautiful.
Thank you very much, Amanda. If you can do us a favor and tell us all a little bit about yourself, please.
So I am Amanda, and oh man, no one's ever asked me to tell me a little bit about yourself.
Right off the bat.
I'm a mom of 5. My oldest is Miranda, and she actually turns 19 today. So happy birthday, Miranda.
Happy birthday, Miranda.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's a freshman at UTSA. And then I have my son, Christopher, who is 17. I have my Isabella, who is 15. And I have my sweet little Sophia, who's 5 and started kinder this year. And then I have my super rambunctious, 100% all-boy Evan, who is 3.
Whoa.
So, I've got 5 kids, super proud of them. And I'm mom, I'm a photographer. I'm running a foundation right now. I'm a vlogger. And I'm a very proud Catholic.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah. So that's a lot of different hats you wear right there. all in one day, right?
Really? Seriously? All in one day? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes.
I can imagine that. So,
yeah.
A mother of 5, vlogger, running a foundation, wife.
Yeah.
How do you imagine it? Someone with many, many plates spinning in the air at the same time and keeping them all spun evenly, which I can imagine is very hard. With all that going on in your life day to day, how do you keep your fire burning for our Catholic faith? What works for you?
Okay, so I'm going to be very honest with you, Jason.
Honesty is the best policy.
I have heard your podcast.
Oh, you have? You're the one. Thank you.
Yes, and I love them. And perhaps that was probably why I was talking to Jason before we started. Right. And I was telling him how nervous I was because I don't pray the rosary every morning.
Sure.
As much as I would love to, I don't fit in the time because I'm an honest person.
Sure.
Right off the bat, I'm very honest. And I wish I could, because it's my favorite, listen and sing along to the Divine Mercy every morning. I don't do that. God, I wish I would. That would just be beautiful. But what I do is pray nonstop. I am always 100% talking to God in my in my mornings of chaos. Whether it be a 3-year-old tantrum or an 18-year-old tantrum, I am praying.
They don't stop at a certain
Absolutely
teenage
not.
age? They don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they don't.
I'll have to get back with my wife on that and let her know that we're not
they
done
don't stop.
with it. So.
But, and so I do. I am just constantly talking to God, praying to Him, thanking Him. And that is really how I keep my faith alive. My older kids, I was born and raised in San Antonio, and then moved away for about 10 years. We moved up to like the Fort Worth area. When I came back to San Antonio, my kids were going into middle school, and then I had my youngest teenager in 5th grade. She was actually in 3rd grade, but it was very important for me to find a parish that had a very active youth group. And so since moving back, which was about 7-8 years ago, I have had my 3 teenagers very much involved with the youth at our church. And that really keeps me involved with our faith because I feel it's a responsibility of mine to not be perfect, but certainly live out what my children are learning at church and doing that at home and in my everyday life and being an example, especially to our teenagers nowadays, where, again, you don't have to be perfect, but know that you are absolutely loved 100% all the time. Even when you feel you're not. I always stress that to my kids. And so I guess in turn, they have really helped me and allowed me to have that faith burning because I try to live it and teach it to them. And so perhaps if it weren't for my teenagers, I don't know, maybe I'd have time for the Divine Mercy in the morning. I don't know. But what I do right now works for me and it works for my family. So I definitely have that. I have my kids to teach and I'm just sincerely I always have God with me. I really do. When things are perfect and when things are horrible and I feel like I can't control them and I'm scared of the situations, He's with me. He's always with me. Amen
to that. Well, there's one of the great aspects of our faith, and there's many different great aspects of our faith, is that everyone has their way of keeping their fire burning. And this is episode number 66. And I've spoken with people who have spiritual readings, and they can name plenty authors that are educated and make a lot of great points, and they speak to the theology of our faith, which is very important. And I've spoken to people who kind of use different forms of prayer, such as like Lectio Divina, as a way to stay close to their faith. But with what you're laying out here and with what you're saying, honestly, I think is probably the most sincere and the most honest, and honestly one of the hardest things to do. Because quite frankly, what you're doing is you are walking the walk. everyone can say what they're doing, and that's fine. But when you live it, when you intentionally live it, and you know that you have these children that you're responsible for, and you want that faith to be very much a part of their lives as it is a part of yours, that means that you can't take any time off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't take a day off and go, okay, well, I'm gonna not do my best today.
Yeah.
You're walking the walk, and to me that is the greatest yet hardest thing to do. So I think that's very commendable. That is the approach you have, and you're working with your situation. You have children they're not just in one demographic; they're in different demographics,
right.
They're in different age ranges. So you living the best life you can, being the best example you can to them, and then knowing that your faith is a big part of it, should speak to them and go, wow, there's something to this. There's something to this faith being a part of what makes my mom awesome.
Oh, well, I really appreciate you saying that, because oftentimes I feel intimidated because I don't know perhaps the story behind every saint.
Sure.
Or have Bible verses memorized. I am like the most lay person you will ever come across, but I'm real, and there is no doubt in my mind that my faith has been my rock. It has been what has been there for me through the thickest and through the thin. I mean, I absolutely love my Catholic faith. And one of the things that made me really nervous about coming on here and sharing with you my faith is that I find my faith, I'm the kind of person who I'm not argumentative. I don't like to be at all. And I think that faith is such for me, it's very, very private. It's very special. It's very beautiful because I know how much he loves me. It took me a long time to get here, really long time. But I have a 19-year-old, so everybody can do the math. But I know without a doubt that I am so loved, and I am the most beautiful thing in his eyes. And it's taken me a long time to get there. And if somebody is going to approach me and counter my thoughts, my beliefs, or my love for him, it makes me want to close my door even more. You know what I mean? It figuratively, of course. And so for me to share my love and faith with God, and whether it be my Catholic faith or my burning fire of him, which is my constant prayer with him, it's kind of scary for me to open up and talk about it, because like you said, everybody has their way of doing what works for them. Perhaps my way would be not somebody else's, obviously, and the chance of it getting attacked, it kind of scares me. But I know I'm at a safe place right here.
Indeed, you are. And even though you're in a safe place, you're going outside of your comfort zone right now by talking about it.
I am.
And that's that's how we grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
By going out of our comfort zone.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
So kudos to you for that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Walking the walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, wonderful. Yeah. So you mentioned that you run a foundation. Can you speak to us a little bit about that foundation, please?
I do run a nonprofit right now. I'm the CEO and president of Kidney Solutions, and I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. First, I don't think that God makes any mistakes. Obviously, he doesn't.
Sure.
And I think that very, very much so, God puts people in our path. And I believe 100% that God put you and your wife in my path, or he put me in your path.
Right.
And so I met Jason, if you don't mind me sharing.
Go right ahead.
I met Jason about a month ago, I think, at the Texas Kidney Foundation Patient Symposium.
Right.
And I haven't forgotten about him at all. And he's been in my prayers ever since.
Thank you.
My vice president, who helps me run Kidney Solutions, we've had several conversations about Jason. And for all those who are listening, that was the first time I had met Jason.
Right.
And in fact, today's the second day I see him. So perhaps most of y'all know him better than I do. And so you know what a wonderful man he is, husband and father. And he has a special place in my heart because I myself am a kidney donor. I donated my kidney to my dad.
Right.
And my dad is a very special man. Mm-hmm. And so I see a lot of Jason. I see my dad. I see the love that Jason has for his family. And that's a love that my dad had for his family. Mm-hmm. My dad was diagnosed, so I'm going to go back a little bit. My dad was diagnosed with kidney cancer. I believe it was, 2012 or something. And immediately from one week to the next, we were told, Dad, you're going to have your kidney removed, and the other kidney you have is not working, so you're going to go on dialysis. Those are your choices. We had family who had been on dialysis. I lost an aunt. And then my uncle was on dialysis. And we knew what dialysis was. And so we were scared.
Right.
And my dad, long story, got put on dialysis. 6 months later, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Wow.
And so my dad did peritoneal dialysis, which is a treatment that you do at home every night. And so in a matter of 6 months, it's just my brother and I. It's my brother and I, my parents. It seemed as though our lives had just flipped upside down. Mom has cancer. Dad's on dialysis now. Right. And my mom had breast cancer, so she had her surgery. She could not lift the bags of solution that my dad needed for his dialysis. And so as a family, we all gathered, my cousin, my brother, myself, and taking turns on who was going to take in the solution, who was going to put the solution on Dad's machine.
Right.
And so although we were all scared, without a doubt, we all held on to our faith, and we held on to it for dear life. And we got through it. We got through it a little bit with comedy. My dad's a jokester. And so he named his machine, he named her Bertha. So sometimes, we'd go over in the morning and Dad would do his dialysis at night. And so in the mornings, we could see if Dad had a good dialysis or if he had a bad one. Right. If he was super swollen, then, Dad had a bad dialysis. Bad one, right. And so Dad, he would kind of joke around and say, oh, Bertha she was not good to me last night. And so we used a little bit of humor and comedy to get us through. But without a doubt, we held on to our faith. And my mom recovered. My mom, thankfully, is doing well, cancer-free. Beautiful. My dad, like I said, he was on dialysis for 5 years. During like his fourth year, it was one Thanksgiving morning, and we all got to my parents' house like we do every Thanksgiving. We ate. I saw that my dad was very swollen. We knew he hadn't had a good dialysis. And so sure enough, after we ate, we kind of gathered around the table, getting ready for dessert, brought out all the circulars to see where we were going to go for Black Friday.
There you go.
And during that time, my parents handed us some pamphlets, and they started to cry. And my dad said, I'm tired. I'm tired of being on dialysis, and I need a kidney. Mm-hmm. And although we knew that he needed a kidney, it's like it took that moment for him to be serious. And that was the first time I had ever heard him say, I need a kidney. I'm tired of being on dialysis. It just struck me. And it was as if that Thanksgiving afternoon, God tapped me on the shoulder. And he said, do something, because he's talking to you. Wow. Mind you, my son was probably 7-8 months at the time. And so needless to say, I had my hands full for sure. I had a baby, and I had 3 kids in school, and I had a toddler at home. And I was busy. But there at that moment, there was a greater need. And that night, I went online. Didn't tell anybody. I went online and I did the first steps in becoming a donor, and I did the online questionnaire. that was on Thanksgiving in November. Went for further testing. By the time I got, it was Christmas morning. By the time it was Christmas, I thankfully had the news that I was a match. And so I shared with my dad Christmas morning, this really nice video. And it was pretty much just a slideshow of pictures. And it was to the song Holy Spirit by Francesca Bertistelli. And so that song is very special to my family and I. And so, it was just an array of pictures just showing my dad and me when I was a baby and a toddler and a child. And at the end, I said, Dad, you've always been there for me. And now it's time for me to be there for you. And I said, I'm a match. Needless to say, I can't top that Christmas gift. But you guys, we had our transplant, and I have to say that day, that Christmas day, both of my parents, but especially my dad, he's a very strong Hispanic, very, I am the breadwinner. I am the caregiver. I take care of my family. Mm-hmm. It was very difficult for him to accept this from me. And throughout that day, there was just a theme with him. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? You have 5 children. How could you do this? What if your children need a kidney? And I had absolutely no doubt and no hesitation. And I told him, God is providing this for you right now. If my children need a kidney, at any point, God will provide for them. There is absolutely no doubt that this is what I am supposed to be doing. And so I guilted him a little bit. And so I was like, you've got to, you're going to have this transplant, Dad. And so we did. And Jason, I have my dad back.
Beautiful.
And if I could do it again tomorrow, I would do it. I would do it. If I could do it again today, I would without a doubt and without hesitation give you my kidney. I would. Because I got my dad back and my children got their grandpa back. My dad works full time now. And my mom, God bless her, she was my dad's rock. And none of this would have been possible without our faith.
Amen to that.
We had our parishioners praying for us. It was definitely a community that got together and supported my dad and supported me. And it was so emotional and it was beautiful. We had tons and tons of prayers going our way. I used social media throughout the testing process, asking for prayers. People ask for money with GoFundMe accounts. And that is awesome. And that's a wonderful way to give. So I was never hesitant to ask for prayers. And I still am not. And so I believe that through the power of prayer and God's hand, we were able to have this transplant. And my life has just been so blessed by being a donor. And every kidney donor that I have spoken to, every single one says, if I could do it again, I would do it again. I had complications. I did not, but some donors say I had complications, but I would do it again. I would still do it again. And so this experience has most definitely brought me closer to God, because when you have that one person in your life, whether it is your spouse, your child, your parent, even a friend, when you see someone that you absolutely love change, go through depression, go through pain and heartache, and then come back from that, is just a beautiful thing. There's no denying that God was there and that God had a huge part in it. And so with being a kidney donor, I have met some people, and really long story short, I am now the CEO of Kidney Solutions, where we help patients who are either on the transplant list, are on dialysis. We help them through social media, and emotionally through phone calls, through support, find their living kidney donors. And so that is what we do. We do it completely free for our patients, because we've seen we've seen the outcome of what a transplant can do and do for people. And so that is what Kidney Solutions does.
It's almost like if Kidney Solutions is the answer to so much prayers.
We hope so. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And so what we do is I'm a photographer, and so I will take pictures of the person who is in need of a kidney. And we share them all over social media. We give them to the patient, please, and we encourage them to share as well, have their family share, because there is a person out there. I mean, I know that we live in such a busy, chaotic life.
Right.
We do. There is no denying that. But I love to love. I love to love people. And I love to always see the good and the best in people. And there are wonderful people out there, strangers, who are willing to give of themselves and donate their kidney. I know it sounds so off the wall, perhaps, to some people.
Right.
But when you experience it, and when you're going through dialysis, it's heard of. It's heard of. It's a norm for some people. And you surround yourself in the kidney community. Kidney transplants happen every single day. So we that's what we're here. We're here for people. To hear you say that, maybe Kidney Solutions is for some people an answer to their prayers that's huge. That's really, really big. And, my partner, Kent Bressler, received his kidney 31 years ago.
Wow.
And he and I have meetings all the time. We have weekly meetings for sure, but we speak every day. And if there's something behind who we are and what we do, it is that we want to be there for people. And we always start and end our meetings with prayer. So for you to say that maybe that's my job now, aside from being mom, but for you to say that maybe we're an answer, that's the most beautiful thing I've heard today. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you for all the wonderful work you're doing. And above all, thank you for saying yes and donating to your father. That was a beautiful, beautiful story. And the timeline, the way it worked out from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Yes.
So I can only imagine the time in between and, the different steps and everything that you went through, know, and then your father was 5 years into dialysis. I can only imagine, kind of what he was feeling and experiencing at that point. I'd like to kind of say that I'm in the honeymoon stage of my dialysis.
That's good.
Because I started in July, and I can do this at home. I don't need to go to a center or anything.
Yes.
So I'm fortunate enough I can do this at home, and I'm trusted with that, that I can do it at home. And I'm still able to get up and get around. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I'm feeling better. So maybe for someone who's not familiar with what symptoms are, or maybe even knowing what my situation is, if they would see me, they probably wouldn't even know it.
Absolutely.
Which is good. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I know that beneath the surface within me, there's something brewing, right? There's something not working properly. So if I don't take the proper steps daily, it will be very evident that something is not working correctly.
Right.
Yes. Thankfully, swelling is down, but I am feeling better, and I hope that I can continue to feel as good as I am now, until if I'm blessed enough to receive, a transplant.
Yeah. And I know, and my dad was the same way. That peritoneal dialysis, which is where you do it at home.
Right.
He was so blessed, and all his nurses, the whole staff was wonderful in training my mom. And,
they are great. And
myself, I did the training as well. He was able to, like you said, he was able to travel, and it didn't stop him. It didn't. When I told him that I was a match, that last year, it took me about 6 or 8 months or so, because we had our transplant in June. I had to lose weight to be able to donate. And so it took me a while before I had my surgery. But that last stretch of knowing in his mind, I'm going to get off dialysis and I'm going to have a transplant, to the actual day of our transplant was about 6 to 8 months. And his body just drained. It really, but I think our mind is just so powerful that he knew it was there, and it just really, really, that last few months of my dad, I mean, he was a very, very different man. And so I have so much faith, Jason, so much faith that your donor is out there. I have it. I feel it in my heart. And I hope that I can encourage you and your wife that he or she is out there. Your angel is out there. So you keep doing what you're doing. And what you're doing is wonderful, because you're gonna have that transplant, and you're gonna get your health back for sure. I have firm belief in that.
Indeed, your mouth to God's ears, right there. Yes, indeed. Can you speak to me a little bit more, because you kind of touched on it earlier when you were sharing with us a story, this incredible story about the community aspect and about how having people praying for you. And it's funny, like, what's been going on with me, it all started with my foot, right? So it's been going on 2 years now where my health has kind of been at the forefront of me. And whenever people see me, that's automatically where the conversation goes to. Typically, and of course, they ask me because they care. And it means a lot to me that they care. So normally the first question I get is, how are you? Right? Naturally, I'm in a walking boot and I'm now on dialysis, and so naturally people want to know, right? How are you? And they're not asking to be nosy; they're asking because they care about you, right? They want to know that you're okay, and if you're not, then they want to help you. So from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate whenever someone asks me, "How are you?" And they normally end the conversation with, "We're praying for you," and every time someone tells me that, I tell them thank you. And I sincerely mean it, because I can honestly say and feel that those prayers are playing a big part in sustaining me. Yeah, I believe you. And that are keeping me from spiraling into somewhere I shouldn't go. Right. It's those prayers that are helping me when my wife's at work and my kids are at school and I'm at home alone, to where I could easily just go in the other direction easy. Yep. But thanks be to God, I really haven't yet. Sure, for about a week after I was told, for about a week after I was told, you're going to start on dialysis, and then we had the home visit, and I could probably chalk it up to me being anemic and my hemoglobin being at a 7 and being tired all the time, that it weighed on my mind. But I really wasn't a pleasant person for that week. But I didn't spiral out of control or anything. And I honestly feel like those prayers kept me lifted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was going to say, even if you do go into that state of where you may not want to go, right? All those prayers, I firmly believe all of those prayers and those people that have you on their minds and in their hearts are going to lift you. They're going to carry you from that place. Right. I firmly believe that. And I know that it, my dad went through it. You have to know, Jason, that you're not alone in that. Even people who aren't on dialysis, we all carry our cross, and some days seems unbearably heavy to carry, but prayer is very powerful, and so absolutely, it'll definitely get you out of those moments and carry you. Beautiful stuff. I want to talk a little bit about Table for Seven, if I can. Okay. Because I know that's kind of another kind of project that you work on, and that is your YouTube channel. Is that not correct? Yes. I really enjoy your videos because, honestly, this isn't a knock. It's just funny. Every time I watch a video, it seems like whenever you're recording, because you have 5 children and a husband and a house full of people, it seems like there's always something happening in the background. And there's always that moment where you're looking at the camera and you have to look off to the side to see what's happening. And then you go back to the camera and it's like, okay, yeah, this is definitely authentic right here.
Yes.
Because there's always, as someone who has attempted to record a podcast in my home I have 2 children, but at one time we probably had about 6, 7, 8 children, including a baby, to feed them between the episode and everything, and to see your videos, and it just kind of reminds me of me, what I try to do sometimes.
Yes,
it's great to kind of see that those little moments over you look off camera and what's going on, wait, okay, and then you're back and kind of go into what you're saying.
Yeah, so I have my YouTube channel, and I actually started it when I was getting tested to be a donor. Mm-hmm. I wanted so desperately to be a match for my dad, and I looked on YouTube to see if I could relate to anybody who was a donor.
Right.
Didn't find anything on YouTube, and so I thought, okay, well, one, maybe it'll serve some good to somebody else who might be going through the testing process, and 2, it'll keep me accountable, because I thought, if I'm not a match for whatever reason, I know I'm going to be devastated. Really, really devastated and very sad. And again, if I'm not a match, it will definitely keep me accountable, and I will know you got to be responsible and show people what else they can do if you're not a match. And so I started the channel, and I figured we have 5 kids. There's plenty of material. And when we go out to eat, which is never, because we never have any money to go out to eat, but I thought whenever we do, we ask for a table for 7. That's where we meet every night, and are always surrounded by the table. So my channel is called Table for 7. And so initially when I started the channel, it was very much all about the testing process for being a kidney donor. And again, you can't, I'm a mom, and so drop off, pick up, what it's like to have 5 children. And it was so wonderful because I actually got to film the day that my dad and I had our transplant, or that my dad had his transplant. And it's one of my most viewed videos, and I'm so stinking proud of it, because if I could go back to that day, as painful as it was, I would do it in a heartbeat. And so to be able to have that on film for us to see whenever we wanted is just a blessing, and I love it. But it was definitely emotional to watch, because right after my dad had his surgery, or when he was in the recovery, he was actually back in his room. He had my brother who was with him FaceTime him, or FaceTime me, and I got to see my dad. And the first thing he said, of course, when you're on dialysis or you have kidney failure, you don't urinate. And so the first thing my dad said was, "Babe, thank you so much for this gift." The first thing he said was, "I was beautiful." He said, "You look so beautiful." And he's like, "Babe, I peed. Thank you so much." And so,
it worked.
Yes, it worked. It worked immediately. And when we hung up, that's when it hit me emotionally, what had just happened. And so fast forward 2 years, and now I just film everyday stuff. Believe it or not, there's this growing trend, or maybe it's been grown for a while, of grocery hauls. So if you don't know what a grocery haul is, it is where people film what they bought at the grocery store, and they show you what they bought.
Okay.
I know. And so a lot of viewers like that. And so I'll do stuff like grocery hauls, just what we're doing in our everyday life. People got to see me recover and recuperate from having my transplant. And I was donating my kidney. I was as real as I could be with the exhaustion that you get, after you donate. So, of course, putting myself out there on YouTube, my teenagers asked me, "Mom, are you going to talk about religion?" And again, if you go back to, if you're still with us, thank you. I haven't bored you. If you go back, the first thing I said was, I'm afraid to share this relationship that I have with God and my faith. And I told my kids, it's such a big part of me and who I am.
Right.
How can I not share that I love God, that I pray, that I'm Catholic? Like, how could I not? And so I do. You take it, you leave it. You want to critique me, I will delete your comment, which I have before. And I have no problem doing that. My video is a safe place. And I ask my viewers for prayers. And so, again, in this world of nothing but hate and, non-believers, there are people out there who are kind and loving and wonderful and awesome. And if you stumble upon my channel, sometimes I thank you for prayers. I ask you for prayers. And if you see a comment that's been deleted, it's probably because it wasn't a nice one. So, I absolutely love having my YouTube channel.
It's good. I really do enjoy the videos. Again, just the whole, you can tell you have to look off camera sometimes to see what's happening in the background.
And that's that I edit. Oh my goodness. I edit so much out.
If you're as anal as I am when I edit, I can only imagine what you edit. Because I'm just on audio here. I don't got to worry about how I look or what the background looks like or anything. So I can only imagine. Yeah. You can only imagine. And then even when I'm editing, my little 3-year-old is so loud. I'm like, Evan, I can't hear what I'm editing. Stay quiet. Right. So sometimes it's a circus. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's quiet. A lot of times it's emotional because that's who I am. Right. I very much share who I am on my channel. I really, really do. You talk about my children, you talk about my parents, my family, and you talk about God. And you're going to get me emotional because that's just who I treasure and love the most. And so, I thank you so much for having me here today, and all of my viewers, I thank them because I'm nobody special, and I am who I am. And so if anybody listens or watches, I'm so grateful for it. You mentioned when you're talking about your father and his machine, he named his machine Bertha.
Yes.
Well, I'll share with you mine. My machine's name is Blue.
Blue.
Right, Blue. That's only because when it came in the box, inside the box, it was wrapped in a blue wrapping.
Okay.
So I figured I'm going to call you Blue.
Call you Blue.
I'm a big Star Wars fan. I figured I'd give it a nice robot name, like R2-D2 or C-3PO or something, or, something like that. Yes. But, I went with Blue. Blue. Because he's my boy.
There we go. He takes care of you.
He's my boy, Blue.
That's right. I love it. Yep. Good.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break here. I have a quick question for you all. Do you want to support the podcast? Well, you can. You can help the John 330 podcast by working with our sponsor. When you need to buy or sell a house anywhere in the country, even in Canada, please give Rob Maio a call. You may remember Rob from episode number 27 when he appeared with his wife Camille. He's an experienced, award-winning realtor and can help you find an exceptional agent at no cost to you. Think of him as your real estate matchmaker. Just call him, tell him your needs, and he'll connect you with exactly the right agent in his extensive network. You can call or text Rob at 210-488-1144. Again, that's 210-488-1144. Tell him you heard it right here on the podcast. Now, back to the show. We're going to go and get to our parting questions.
Okay.
So here we go. So you're a mother of 5. So in a way, you are a superhero, and you do have superpowers to be able to take care of 5 children, a husband, a YouTube channel, which isn't easy to do, to edit and kind of put together and piece together just the way you want it before the world sees it.
Yes.
But if you could pick any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, man. Okay. I so hope I'm not judged on this one.
No, this is a no judgment zone.
Okay. All right. So for all you moms who are listening to me, I love being a mom. I love being a wife. I love everything that I do. I do. Gosh, if I had a superpower, you know what I would choose? To sometimes be invisible.
There you go.
Is that bad?
No. I think at one point or another, everyone in their life has wanted to be invisible.
And I don't mean like, oh, I wish I was gone. I just wish invisible where, like, while I'm invisible, I have that peace and quiet. Like, that's the invisible I want.
Like when you nap, you're invisible?
Yes.
That way they can't see you and wake you up?
That guilt-free nap.
There you go, guilt-free
because
nap.
you can have a nap and you've got 5 kids,
Right.
or you
Whoa.
have something, dinner. Yeah. But that guilt-free ability to just, I'm going to disappear for like 2 seconds, but it's going to feel like an hour. So when I come back, I'm so rejuvenated. Jason, there's my superpower.
I like it. And that's probably one of the most unique superpowers I've ever heard of.
Okay.
Very good. Who is your favorite saint?
Saint Therese, Little Flower.
I think her feast day is coming up, or was. It's in October. I think it's the
First?
first. It was yesterday?
I don't know.
I think it was
so,
yesterday.
maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I love how she didn't know everything.
Right.
And I feel that I can relate to that. Yeah. But I sure know that I am loved, and he loves everyone. So that I know for sure. So yeah, I would say Little Flower.
Beautiful. So Saint Therese, Little Flower, pray for us.
Pray for us.
If you could describe how you live your faith with a hashtag, what would the hashtag be?
Oh man, this is going to be boring. I'm going to say prayer.
Hashtag prayer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I pray, and I don't pray those beautiful prayers. Your beautiful prayer in opening your podcast, those are beautiful. My prayer is just constant to God. I love the Our Father, as simple as it is every single night. It's the Hail Mary and the Our Father. Because my Father, he's just, and I mean God, he is my man. And so I love the Our Father, as simple as that is. I love the Our Father. But I pray. I pray constantly.
Beautiful.
So, hashtag pray.
Good one. Good one. Lastly, what message do you want to leave our listeners with?
Have faith. I think whatever season you are in your life, wherever it is, whether it's good, bad, 90% good and 10%, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it to tomorrow? Have faith. Know that God is with you. And it's just a season. You're going to get through it.
Well put. Well put. Well, Amanda, thank you very much for taking time out of your day and sharing with us how you keep your fire burning for our Catholic faith.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Jason. This was not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
No, not at all. Not at all. We're good. And where can people find you as far as on social media? Where can you find Kidney Solutions, Table for Seven? Where can anyone find anything?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we have kidneysolutions.org is our website. Okay. Kidney Solutions, we are on Facebook. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, and we are now on YouTube as well. Cool. And so that is my work end, where we focus on just, our kidney patients, our awesome kidney warriors. And then I have my Table for Seven, which is more personal, my vlog, Table for Seven on YouTube, and it's the actual word spelled out, Table for Seven, Seven. And then Table for Seven on Instagram as well. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really do the Twitter thing. And then I'm just personally myself. I'm on Facebook, but find me on YouTube for sure. And you'll get to know me like I'm just a mom. So yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, definitely. What I'll do is within the show description for this episode, for everyone listening, in the show description, I'll definitely put links to your YouTube channels, as well as Kidney Solutions, and I'll look for the video on Table for Seven where you were going through the transplant. I'm gonna try and find that video, and I'll put the link for that there as well. That way, people can have easy access to that as well there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jason.
You got it. In John 3:30, we do find that he must increase, I must decrease. I want to thank Oblate Renewal Center for allowing us to record this particular episode on holy ground. It means so much to us. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Our executive producers for this week's episode are Dr. Jeff Vista and also Rob and Camille Maio. Thank you, three, for your support, for your continued support of the John 3:30 podcast. We're going to end this episode the way we end all of our episodes, and that is how the Nunez family ends our time in Mass every time we attend. That is basically by saying the intercessory prayer to St. Michael the Archangel. So here we go. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl throughout the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amanda, thank you once again.
Thank you, Jason.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day, and God bless you all.
He must increase.